The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Current and Joseph Christina as they serve up the hottest photography news and commentary.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 172. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Current. On last week's show, we looked at a side-by-side comparison between Corel Aftershot Pro 2 and Adobe Lightroom 5. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at digitalphotographycafe.com and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/dphotocafe. Listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or subscribe through iTunes or RSS.
So Joe, we're back. How was your Thanksgiving, man?
Very good. I'm feeling fat.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. You know, once a year, right?
Yeah, I got to lose a couple pounds now. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
But that's okay. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. We had about 12, I think it was, over for the holiday, which is nice. Not too many, but still is a good amount of family.
Yeah,
so
no,
it was
nice. That's nice. Yeah, we went to my aunt's house. It was there was like 9 of us or something, and it was good.
Nice.
It was nice. It was a relaxing day. We got to just kind of sit around, and my eating has definitely been improving over the past several months, so I was able to actually enjoy my Thanksgiving dinner again this year. So that's good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know it's been a year just about since your surgery, somewhere around there.
Yeah, you know what?
Close.
We took last week off for the holidays.
Right.
And, you know, I was sitting thinking, we didn't do the show. And then I was thinking like, wow, you know what? I think it's been a year now since I announced, my sickness, my cancer. And I went back through the old shows because now I was curious. I needed to find out. So I went back to the old shows, and it actually we recorded the show on Black Friday last year, and then it aired on Cyber Monday, where I had announced it. And, it was rather interesting. I kind of was intrigued at that point. And then the next many shows, I kind of just skimmed a little bit to see what we talked about it and what my progress looked like. And if you watch the show that aired, towards the end of November, the Black Friday show, and then you go and watch the show in March,
when you came back,
that's when I first came back after my radiation. You will see a huge difference.
Yeah, like 40 pounds difference.
Yeah. I was like the Incredible Shrinking Man. My voice was all raspy and jacked. I mean, I still wasn't feeling, great.
Right.
But now you look at me today as compared to March, and you'll hear a much stronger voice. I'm putting weight back on. I still look thin, but that's okay. I don't mind being a little thin. I just didn't want to look sickly like I did.
Yeah, no, then, absolutely. Well, it's awesome that you're back and you kind of beat this cancer thing, and now we're able to move forward. I know I was flying solo for like 2-3 months. I was going to kill you.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah, it was a hard bout though with the cancer. I know we were on the phone, I would say daily during that whole entire process, and there was some rough. Definitely some rough points here and there, but so glad that you're healthy and you're back.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, December 17th was my surgery, and March was the beginning of March was the end of my radiation. So March of 2014. So they're saying, it's usually a year after your final radiation treatment before you're really kind of 100% again. So, I've still got a few more months to go, 4 more months to go. And, but really in the grand scheme of things, you think about 4 more months to go, they are going to go like that. And I mean, I already feel almost 100%. I mean, there really is not much other than regular dry mouth, which is a nuisance. But other than that, I mean, it really is not bad at this point.
Yeah. Well, that's
not to say I'd
fantastic.
want to go through it again.
Yeah, no, I would say not for sure. So, anyway, this week, like Trevor said, last week we did take the week off for the holidays and enjoy the family and whatnot for Thanksgiving. Coming up this month, we're going to try to get a little something in there special for Christmas. I don't know. We're gonna give it our best. But for today, we just have a lot of news stuff. We got a lot of things that came through the wire, a lot of things that came into our email box that we want to kind of share with you guys. Some cool stuff here, there, and elsewhere. Kind of just a fun, relaxing show this week. But we need to start out with Apple. Like it seems like we do very, very often, but they're kind of
they're always in the news, so.
Yeah, always in the news, absolutely. And interesting, is they did a kind of like it wouldn't be a survey, but they kind of went through some marketing information and found out that, what was it, like the 41% of the, let's call them phablets for the quarter are actually iPhones.
Yep.
The let's call them the big or the bigger iPhone. So that was kind of interesting.
6 Plus, the big screened one.
Right. The massive one.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. They popped into the market with these big monsters, and they've kind of shot up there pretty well. Now, my understanding was that Tim Cook was originally thinking like, hey, you know what? We're going to take over. As soon as we do this, all those people, those stupid people using Samsung.
Yeah, and Android.
Android junk, What are they thinking? They're just going to straight come right over to us because now we're going to have the big phablets, the big and bigger version of the iPhone. And what they did find out was that's not what happened. Only 9% of the iPhone users actually moved over or migrated, of the Samsung users moved over to iPhone. So it was completely opposite to what Tim Cook thought would happen. That just kind of leads me to believe, listen, once you go Android, you're not going to go Apple anymore because it's doing everything you need to do, right?
Yeah. I mean, that really is it. I mean, with Android, I think it's a lot about the hardware that it's on.
Yeah.
And
that Samsung is definitely
with the operating system. And
absolutely.
Android and iOS are so similar now that, I mean, what's not to like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are issues, there are things as with iOS. But, I mean, I know my dad, he's an Android user. He's got a smartphone. He's got an Android tablet. He loves it.
Yeah.
We look at, my iPhone and my iPad in comparison and stuff. And, I mean, they look good. They look good.
Yeah.
They're a good comparison. So really, I mean, I don't really see a reason to switch back.
Yeah.
Or
not
switch
anymore.
over.
Yeah, I know my wife has one of the Samsung tablets. What is it? The Tab something or the Note something? I don't know. The big one that looks like a iPad Mini.
Right.
It's about that size, and that thing is just absolutely beautiful. And she uses it for everything. I mean, she uses that more than her laptop now.
Sure.
And we have an iPhone. I mean, iPhones and as well as iPads in the house, but she uses that. She just likes it. So, yeah, it all has to do with the hardware. I think Samsung has really elevated Android to a level that says, hey, this is as good. It's sometimes even better than iOS. So, it is hardware based. Whereas you get some of the other manufacturers that use Android that kind of cobble it together that, it's just kind of buggy here, there, and elsewhere.
Right.
They just seem to get it. But Samsung's been doing a lot of good stuff anyways lately.
Yeah, well, that's it. Samsung does have their own derivative of Android, and I know LG, I think, has a derivative of Android as well.
Right.
I know Leo over at MacBreak, he's even commented how he wishes the Samsung devices just came with the base Android system, that they didn't put their
like
kind of spin on it, because he prefers that more. But
right.
Regardless, I think it's great. I mean, kind of the same thing with the whole Mac and PC deal. I mean, people who switch over to Mac are usually fairly happy and don't go back. But on the other hand, things have been changing with Apple. Their iOS, the prices of their computers, the pro level stuff. The Mac Pros are now cost prohibitive for most people, so we're going with iMacs. Will iMacs do it for most of us? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great machines, but
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I've been an Apple guy since the very beginning of the 80s. I had an Apple Plus, I think it was,
right.
Apple II Plus. So I've been with Apple for a long time, but I've noticed that it is becoming a little bit I don't know, I'm not as happy anymore because they seem to be getting away from servicing us, the professionals, and really servicing just kind of like the end users. And that's all great and everything, but you should continue to service the pros because, I mean, that's what happened with Final Cut, right?
Yeah.
You went from Final
Yep.
Cut, Pro 7 to X, which was just, oh my God, it was a mess. The whole industry was in an uproar. And many companies migrated over to Adobe Premiere due to that
Yep.
horrific change that they did, where they dumbed it down and they turned, an incredible package that was used in the movies to something that was, what was it, like iMovie-esque. On crack, basically. So it was really not good. And now you're seeing them now getting rid of, Aperture, right? And hand-holding folks to go migrate into Lightroom or other type of asset management packages from Aperture. They just seem to be just losing, interest in the professional, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, they're kind of focusing more on the consumer level products and the consumer level computers. And, I agree. I mean, as of right now, I would not switch over to PC or Linux or anything. I mean, there's no reason to. I am happy with my Apples and my Macs and all the other, Granny Smiths and
exactly
Golden Delicious.
That's right.
But whatever. So.
Yeah, no, I know. I think when it will become a choice from me, it will be when we need to retrofit the studio with some new machines.
Yes.
And that's going to be coming soon in the next year or two. And at that point, I'm going to really have to make a decision to go, once again with the Mac or go with the PC. And the main decision is going to be that if that we are no longer Final Cut and using Premiere. And since we're going to be using After Effects and not Motion, and since we're going to be using Photoshop and Lightroom anyways, and Aperture is gone, it doesn't really assist me in any way to keep Mac, since the package is originally written for Windows to begin with.
And you can get a really good Windows machine for a heck of a lot
for
less
half the
money
price
than a Mac.
Exactly.
So.
Half the price is the key. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If you guys have any thoughts on that, definitely write in. I want to hear your thoughts on it because it's an interesting thing. What's been going on in the last 6 months, over at Apple. It's very interesting. So, and as photographers, we are pros. We need, we look for, machinery that services us, does it well, does it quickly, but also does it cost effectively. It needs to be, that you have to get a good value out of it. If not, we're not able to service our clients, or we have to charge them a lot more, right?
Right, that's right.
So moving on, the president, right? The president's in the news, kind of, but it's more like 3D printing and camera technology, right?
Yeah, this article we came across is really kind of neat. It really is more technology than photography oriented, but we just thought it was really cool and wanted to share it with you. So this group got together and created this rig that consisted of like 50 LED lights, 14 cameras, and handheld 3D scanners. And basically they scanned, the president from the chest up in 3D, full 3D, 360 degrees. And then they actually took and modeled that in the CAD programs and actually printed the bust in 3D printing.
Amazing.
Really
amazing.
Cool.
So the detail, from every freckle, every mole, every pimple, every hair is captured in high resolution with all these cameras, and then, merged together and rendered. It's absolutely amazing. I can see this is going to be how it will be done from now on.
Oh,
this
yeah. The days of people
be the way.
sculpting, for the president or like in the old days, chiseling out of stone, those, this really is a game changer. But what really excites me about this, not the photography side of it necessarily, but the 3D printing technology side.
Right.
As a creative, I'm creative in many ways, not just through graphics or photography.
Yes.
I love three-dimensional stuff. I love getting my hands dirty. I love building things, making things out of wood, stuff like that. And this 3D printing technology really is cool. I've been following some guys online who are doing like movie replica props and
like cosplay
stuff, and they're making some amazing things, all developed in 3D, in a CAD system, and then printed out of 3D printers.
Yeah, I've seen like a full Iron Man suit that came out of one of these 3D printers, piece by piece by piece, and then painstakingly assembled and all functioning and working hand movements, all just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I mean, the 3D printing is definitely a game changer. I definitely want to start playing with a little bit of it.
Yeah,
and just like you, I'm a creative. I mean, the last 2 or 3 weeks, I actually pulled out some of my sketchbooks, and I'm starting to do some some super realistic, I like realism a lot, but some really nice sketches, charcoal sketches,
right.
Black on white. And then, of course, I do like a lot of white on gray material. I just like that medium.
That's cool.
I like the way it looks. So I've been doing a lot of that. So it's just fun to kind of just get your mind out there and just kind of change, instead of, taking a photograph is one thing. It's one layer of it, but there's a process that goes in to the whole the process. Let's just say it starts from that whole creativity and how you want to set them up. What kind of lighting, what kind of position, what kind of posture should they have? Should they be looking at the camera? Not on and on and on. There's so many things that go into it that people, the lay folk that aren't photographers that do it professionally, they don't even think about. Right. There's a lot that goes into creating that photograph, especially if you're going to do it, you're going to do it professionally, and you're going to do it, like, for example, like I'll do branding portraiture. Well, that picture has got to be their brand, right. And that's got to be in one click their brand. How do you convey who someone is in a single picture? Right. And that is where all that, that creative juices have to be flowing, and a lot of work goes in behind the scenes. So yeah, I like it. It's cool. Definitely cool. I want to look at some of these 3D printers. Yeah. I don't know. If you get one before me, then I'll be jealous.
Yeah. It'll be fun to play with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got
moving on.
Yeah, moving on. We got a rumor. So we don't normally spend a lot of time on rumors because they are just that, rumors. But this one was interesting, kind of exciting because of the way camera technology has been moving. And so the rumor is that Canon is really going to be investing in mirrorless full frame sensors in 2015. So nice. They seem to have kind of given up on the EOS M mirrorless camera that they did here in the States. I guess it is still, kind of have a little bit of traction in Europe and Asia and such. But, I'm thinking that they're probably starting to, phase it out or whatever in favor of this new technology. But there is a source that says that this is going to be more of a rangefinder configuration as opposed to like a big bulky DSLR configuration. So this is interesting. Right. I mean, it would be nice to see Canon and Nikon come out with these full frame mirrorless cameras and to be high end, to be high level, not consumer grade.
Exactly. Well, I mean, what is it? Sony. There's a few companies that are looking into doing full frame that are already doing full frame. I think, what is it? The Alpha 7R or whatever it is. The thing is it's already out there as an ILC, but Canon hasn't really done it yet. So I'm definitely interested to see what they do with it. Obviously, I'm in the Canon camp just because that was the glass I bought, years and years and years ago. But it's definitely the way of the future. I foresee within the next probably about 3 to 5 years, it probably won't be the clack, 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 clack of the shutter any longer. So I'll be interested. It's kind of cool to see who really does it. I could see Canon or Nikon really running with it, whereas with Sony, they just have such a small market share. Yeah. It's very hard for them to get their, the wheel spinning, so to speak.
Right.
Whereas when you have this huge populace that you can draw from, not only for doing like beta testing and stuff and sending cameras out to a lot of different folks, but also you have like this community, a huge community that will kind of help at this creation and fixing problems, because iteration 1 will be a hot mess, like it always is. So don't buy one. I wouldn't buy it. But iteration 2 would probably be really, really good because they have such a big community, Canon or Nikon, either which way. So I'm eager. I've been following mirrorless for a long time. I can't wait for it to really hit where everything becomes lighter
and quieter. I mean, I recently
quieter.
did an event, and there were people talking, and and I'm standing there with my camera, and it's got the, I turned the, the beeping off, but you still are hearing the clacking of the mirror moving up and down, and it is a little distracting, especially in a small room environment.
Yeah, there's many priests and rabbis that will not allow the cameras to be near. You'd have to shoot long lens from the back of the church or from the back of the temple, because they don't want to hear clack, 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 clack,
no,
clack.
They don't
clack,
want the distraction. They're there to do their job, which is to marry that couple, and in a religious setting. They don't want the distractions. It's not a show for them. It's not a circus. They don't.
Right.
They don't want the paparazzi in their face with the flashes and stuff going on.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So we'll see what happens with that. Go to it.
Yes.
Canon, do it. Nikon, beat Canon. I don't really care. Like we always say, the two of them, it's like one body with the two legs. One steps forward, the next one steps forward.
That's right.
You definitely need that one to step forward. If not, they're going to fall. So, but anyways, moving on. Mail. I think I've talked about this many times in the past. Mail. I cannot stand mail. I hate mail. Mail is horrible. I originally came from Apple, then went to PC, and then back to Apple. That's kind of how I've transitioned. When I was a PC guy, I used Outlook, and I got so used to Outlook. When I came to the Apple environment and using Apple's mail, I hated it. It just didn't do everything that Outlook did, not even probably a third. And then I tried so many different packages, just a ton, to try to get there somewhere close to Outlook, and I just never was able to find anything. Right. So,
and the Outlook version for Mac was not.
It's neutered.
It was neutered. Yeah, I mean, it's not as good. I used to use that on the Mac platform, and it was a hot mess. I mean, we got rid of that right away in favor of Mac Mail, just because it was cleaner and worked better.
Yeah. So if anyone uses Quicken or QuickBooks and they've used it on a PC and have migrated to a Mac, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Right. It is horrendous. Yeah. It is the worst package ever. You can just take Quicken, ball that all up for Mac, throw it in the garbage. They're not even on the same playing field. Right. So it's the same thing with Mail. But anyways, so there's a Kickstarter, right? That's coming out that kind of incorporates a little of what we're talking about.
Yeah, there is.
Gmail.
So this Kickstarter, this company is actually creating a Gmail desktop application. We already have dedicated iOS and Android apps for Gmail, but not on the desktop. Nothing that's good anyway. You can, of course, integrate your Gmail account with Mac Mail or with other,
with Outlook
or whatever, and that's fine. But you're kind of losing a lot of the benefits that Gmail has to offer, like the search and the filtering and the labeling and stuff like that. You just don't
direct
get
access
that.
To your Google Drive, right? That's huge.
Right. So this Kickstarter project, they've actually have a really solid alpha version of this desktop app for Mac, and they're basically looking for funding to get it out there, to get it promoted and stuff. What's nice about it is you can actually use it as your default mail app, which is nice. Now, you do have to be a Gmail user. This is not going to work for a standard IMAP or POP3 account.
Wah.
Yeah, which is a shame. But that's fine. A lot of people are migrating over to Gmail, and I know that I'm kind of in the process. I'm evaluating whether I want to migrate some of my things over from my regular web server over to Gmail as well. It supports multiple Gmail accounts without having to sign in and sign out. So when you're on the web interface, if you have multiple accounts, you have to literally sign out and sign back in as a different user in order to be able to access those accounts. If you're
Right.
using Mac Mail and you have them set up as IMAP accounts, then of course you can have your multiple Gmails there. But again, you don't have all those benefits.
Exactly. Well, it looks like they're doing pretty good. They're looking at, let me see, pledged. The goal was 20,000. Right now I'm looking at it. It shows just under 30,000. So
Yep.
they're over 10. That means that everyone that did pledge, they're going to get a copy of this, which is great. The company is Zive, Zive.
Right.
If you guys at Zive are listening, listen. Add in some type of functionality. You don't need POP 3. I don't care about POP 3. You need IMAP. Add some type of generic IMAP into this, and you will have the absolute golden boy package that everyone has been looking for.
That's right.
For their Mac when it comes to mail. So if you're listening, IMAP. Put that IMAP in there. We'll love you.
That's right.
So anyways, 4 days to go, guys. If you want to back it or you want to get a copy of this, jump in there. We'll put a link in the show notes, right?
Yes.
So, all right, guys, listen, we have a lot more for you, but before we go any further, let's go ahead and hear from one of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener. All right, so we're back, and we have another Kickstarter program that we wanted to talk about, and this one is for a product called the Panlight. And this is really kind of cool. It's basically it's a remote-controlled head that you could put on a light stick.
Right.
You could put a flash on it, a flash with a flash trigger. You can strap your battery pack for your flashes, like to the stick or whatever.
Sure.
You can also mount a camera to it, and it uses a small handheld remote control that you can control the pan and the tilt with it. And it's really interesting because it allows you to place your flashes in those hard to reach areas maybe you can't get to, or they're up really high. I know, Joe.
Right, and then be able to control them. Right?
Yeah, Joe. I mean, you shoot these events. You're in these rooms with these huge ceilings and stuff, and sometimes it's just not easy to get to the equipment.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I'm sure you guys have experienced this too. You're in a gala, or you're in, let's say, a church where flash is allowed, or in a temple where flash is allowed. We normally do what we call like an umbrella effect, where we'll put 4 flashes in 4 corners and then point them at the ceiling, and then get this beautiful umbrella soft light whenever we need it over everyone.
Right.
What's nice about this is now not only can you do this, what we call an umbrella effect, but we can also then direct the flash, let's say, to the center of the dance floor, and now get 4-way directional light beaming directly onto, let's say, the bride and groom doing the first dance.
Right.
That creates an amazing effect. It looks amazing. It looks incredible. But to do this, normally we would have to go and take, sometimes these sticks are 12 feet, 15 feet up, lower them, redirect, and then raise them back up.
Right.
It's a pain. So to be able to do this all remotely with just a little thing in your hand, it's just cool.
Well, and that's what's really
this
neat is the Panlight has 4 channels, so it will support up to 4 devices. So from one remote. So all you need is this tiny little remote you're carrying in your pocket, and you can hit, device 1, rotate it where you need it, device 2, rotate it where you need it. You're good to go. What I like about it, though, is a lot of today's smaller cameras can be controlled via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth remotely from your smartphone. You can use your smartphone for viewing. You can use your smartphone for triggering the shutter. What I like about it is you could actually put one of these on a short little tabletop tripod, let's say, set it at the front of the podium, and put a camera on it to record video and actually be able to stand in the back, monitoring it from your smartphone, triggering it start, stop, and actually moving the camera along with them as they're walking down the aisle or what have you. It's
right.
Really, I mean, there's a lot of options you could do with something like this. So
yeah.
definitely
It looks
find it interesting.
Yeah, definitely interesting. So it looks like, what is it, 36K, I guess?
That's what they were looking to raise.
Yeah, now they're at what, over 64,000?
Yeah, they're a British company, so the dollar amounts were actually in pounds. So doing a quick conversion, that's why I say approximately. It's approximately $36,000 that they were looking to raise, and so far they've raised a little over or right around 64,000. So
yeah, they're getting close to doubling their numbers, so they're doing well. That's good.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
definitely
great.
something. And plus, since they met their the requirement, you know that if you go and back them, you're going to get something at the end of the day. So that's good. So moving on, another rumor. We don't talk about rumors too much like we were talking about. We did twice on this show, but this is a very interesting one, and it kind of shows where things are going, I think, right?
Yeah. So Apple is putting out some job listings, and they're looking for people to work kind of in the virtual reality and augmented reality areas.
Yeah, it's interesting. So they actually say we're looking for. So, okay, a lot of people that do these rumors, okay, they take all kinds of sources, and this is where this stuff comes up, where they get it. And this one makes it very, very plausible because they're actually looking for a position for a candidate to develop software and tools that use VR and AR, which is virtual reality and augmented reality, to push the state-of-the-art, blah, 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 enable development of Apple of next-generation products. So that to me means, and just like most would say, well, that means that Apple now is saying, hey, AR as well as VR is something big, and we need to address it, and we need to get people working on this now because it will be in Apple's next-generation products. They see it happening.
Well, there's already Google Glass, which gives you kind of the ability to look at things and get information and stuff. And the iOS applications, the iOS environment is becoming so rich now in capabilities. I mean, the processors on these devices are getting crazy powerful. The memory, the storage, everything else is greatly increasing. So this can really open up a whole new lines of interacting with our devices and experiencing things. I mean, there's some images that represent, I guess, what these glasses could look like. And, they're very sleek, very futuristic looking. But the inside of the lenses are actually like video screens. So it's not, so it is more of that virtual reality where the outside is being blocked off and you're looking at video screens. But then the augmented reality can be incorporated within that. So, yeah, this is really cool. I mean, I look at it as, just something cool to go along with the devices we have.
Yeah.
But think about the technology. I mean, we're able to monitor our cameras with our smartphones. So let's say we interface these things with our smartphones, and now we can see through our camera lens through these glasses. Now we have these remote heads and all of this stuff. I mean, we basically could put the camera anywhere we wanted it and monitor and control the cameras from different locations. I mean, that really adds to the ability to have a like a second or a third shooter, being able to capture things that we wouldn't have been able to capture before all by ourselves.
Right. And it's funny, I've seen this already, and I think many of us have, that Samsung has developed something like this too, this product that would take like a Samsung Note, you know how big that is, right?
Yep.
And it would strap to the front of with this headpiece, and you would be able to look at it, and it would be augmented reality, basically. It would be a virtual reality type of experience.
Right.
And Samsung's doing it. So I can see Apple, taking cues and saying, "Oh, God, we better get on this,
Yeah.
Oh God, Samsung's already doing it. If we don't do it, we don't do it well. We're going to fall, behind the 8 ball, and we can't let that happen because they are the major competitor to Apple is Samsung these days. So
Right.
By them already having something for that, it's interesting. So
It is.
if you could do a Samsung Note, and just like you were saying, if you could control your camera. Well, if you have a Samsung Note strapped to your head, I could, you already have that, let's say, that interaction already. So yeah, I could see that. Could you imagine? Now, the glasses that they showed as kind of a representation of what the Apple would make, they look like something. They look, something out of the 26th century.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looks so awesome. They look like billet aluminum, just like you would see the phones made out of themselves, and it's a pair of glasses that look like ski glasses, but inside is actually an LCD screen that's wrapped around.
Right.
So that would just be, I can't even imagine. And then where it sits over your ears, of course, then you have like your little earbuds that would go in. But it's just, it looks very, very interesting and cool. And I could definitely see that. Could you imagine taking pictures like that? You stick on these glasses.
Yep.
Now you can see everything exactly how the camera sees it. And you can capture it at any time.
Yeah, I mean, we really are getting there. I mean, with some of the technology that's already out there. I mean, now we have, big TVs with curved panels.
Right. Samsung did that, right?
Right. So now, I mean,
Right.
now what's to say you can't have small glasses-sized panels that are curved for more of that wraparound feel? We've already got these great small displays that are super thin. I mean, look at the new iPhones. Look at some of the stuff that's out there. These things are so thin. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't incorporate something small like that to fit in front of your face so it doesn't look like you're wearing big night vision goggles or something,
Right. Right.
I mean, and with that said, we can already do infrared stuff. We can already do some various forms of night vision with these small cameras in different lighting. So, I mean, you could put these on and walk in the dark with them. I mean,
Yeah.
there's all
And
kinds
hopefully,
of neat stuff that can be done.
and hopefully they can get away from that, like that Oculus type of thing,
Yeah.
where you have this big VR contraption like they
Nobody
do.
wants to wear that.
Now that works.
It does,
Those work
yeah.
with gaming, and people, I mean, it's hard to kind of get it to work, but people have used that device, but it's like this big thing that's heavy and you got this headgear. What they need to do is be able to make these glasses as just solely an interface.
Yes.
And allow the computing power and everything that's going on, which a lot has to be going on, to stay in your pocket.
Yeah.
And just have that how they just communicate through whatever next generation Bluetooth or whatever. Right. But like with the Oculus, they're just this huge contraption, and no one's going to wear that. It's just
I mean, people are already getting busted on for wearing the Google Glass out in public. And some people are the techies. They're the bleeding edge, and they're like, oh, this is cool, and other people are like, yeah, you look like a dork. So it's going to be an adoption thing, of course, as with anything, but. I don't know. Again, like we talked about the 3D printing towards the beginning, this type of technology, it just goes to show where things are moving and how all of these little elements can play into what we do in our daily lives.
Yeah, and it goes. I could see a day where you would be able to just throw on these glasses and quote unquote virtually walk into my studio or my gallery and see, for example, like last year when I ended up doing a showing for some of my very large black and white fine art that I do, photographs, and say, listen, do you want to come? And just throw on these glasses and you walk through the door. Yep. And now you can look around and see these huge prints that I do in black and white, but see them through the glasses exactly how if you were actually standing there, maybe even in higher resolution, because you could probably zoom in now.
Sure, that's right.
with your glasses.
Rather
walking
than moving
up.
in closer to the print, you can actually just zoom in and get that feeling.
Yeah, that's amazing. Things are changing, and I think in our time we will definitely see that, where you have like a lot of this virtual tours and that really work well. This is going to be people like sick all the time. They'll be like, I don't feel too good. This is making me dizzy. As you're in there, kind of wandering around
You have to take
and
some Dramamine before you put them on.
Yeah, put on the Oculus and take Dramamine. So, but anyways, I think we need to get out of here, man.
Yeah, we're done. We're running long, man. We got to go. So if people want to connect with you outside of the show, what's the best way for them to reach you?
They could find me on Twitter, and that's @Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
Great, and you can connect with me on Twitter. It's @TrevorCurrent.
So, all right, guys, we are out of here for yet another week. You can get all the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/172. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/dphotocafe. And we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with any compatible device by visiting youtube.com/dphotocafe. Be sure to subscribe to our audio feed through iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps or through RSS. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your host.